about a year and a half ago, when the whole buzz around AI was really taking off, I think personally, I was frustrated with it. I felt like a lot of people were just really conflating ML versus AI and just putting everything into this big, broad bucket. Uh, but things have really, really progressed. And, AI is unlike, I can now say, it is unlike any other hype curve that I have ever experienced personally, from the dot coms through cloud to anything else. And I'm sure you probably have your own opinions on the whole AI craziness right now.
Yeah, it's insane because what AI has done is it's captured the imagination of the general public in a way that, IT or maybe Apple fanboys, whatever kind of tech you want to pick, just really hasn't done that. But there's a lot of issues going on here. So look, the first one is, when you look at AI's usage in other things, or just talk about technology advances, look at the advances we've had in healthcare that people can readily see. We've got COVID vaccines. We've got weight loss. We've got, we're on the precipice of a cure for cancer. If you look at something like animation, one of the reasons I'm so into animation is I use AI for that, right? I can simulate a voice. I can take an actor and move them. I can kind of convey a message with a video, and it really keeps me upfront. When I started in doing the animation stuff, the breakthroughs that they've had are just insane. The amount of videos I've been able to put out with just by myself. Now I would then pause and say, what advances have we had in cybersecurity? We really haven't, right? You might have said, look, the cloud is an advance, being able to go from on-prem servers and data centers to maybe ephemeral, API-based Lambda kind of stuff. That's a pretty significant shift. But aside from that, what cyber advances have been there? Better cryptography, better better patching, sandbox for malware. And it's tough. Now, that's a little unfair because in cyber, we're constantly judging how good we are by how good the threat is. And pretty much those guys have kept neck to neck this whole time. So even though there's been a lot of advancements, Halcyon has one of our investments in an anti-ransomware company. They have basically kernel armor, right? The stuff that Trinity's doing with their full content inspection is basically, I think, 10, 15 years ahead of anybody's packet analysis that's out there. But in our market, when I start selling like that, I start selling like a vendor, right? And it's not something that kind of captures this imagination that's out there. But the example I use is like an animation. I can take a person, put them at the end, have a conversation, say, walk to the door. I have yet to see a cyber vendor that can say, I've got all your vulnerabilities. I got your org chart. I've also looked at the emails of all in your Slacks of all your communications. And based on all that, here's how I recommend you approach being CMMC compliance. Or here's how I recommend you approach being, it's not there. And I don't know if we're ever going to get there because there's no consistent data that we can train an AI on to have that insight to do that. It's just not. Everything there on the cyber side is basically conversational and not actionable.